So Big Fire, you asked for a video. Here we go. I'm going to let you guys know what I actually thought of X-Men Age of Apocalypse. And to be perfectly honest, I think they did a reboot on us. I think they snuck a reboot in on us and they didn't tell anybody. And I think that's what I like most about this new Age of Apocalypse. Is that it kind of took all of the mythos from the first 3 movies of the series and then rebooted them into the new continuity, which changed everything for the new Marvel Universe. It reworked in how Wolverine got his adamantium claws. It reworked in how Charles got in the chair and the friendship between Magneto and Professor X. It reworked everything so that it's a more cohesive story and follows more closely along with the comic books. True enough, there are still some issues with the film, and I'm not going to sit here and say it was absolutely phenomenal or it was absolute trash. It was somewhere in between. I really liked it because, like I said, it's a reboot without being a reboot. And I'm trying to do this without any spoilers so that you can go in with a clear mind, but I want to give you my opinion. So, I like how they introduced the characters in this movie. I like how that this is like a slow build, kind of like how they're doing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sure enough, Marvel's not getting this property back. Fox has I think figured out the formula for actually getting these right. We may see some cameos here and there later for a later Avengers movie, but for right now, I think that Fox has got their act together and they figured out how to make a good cinematic universe for the X-Men or the mutants per se, right? Is there anything else I can talk about in this movie that's not a spoiler? I like how they did the relationship between Scott and Jean Grey. It wasn't forced. You can see a natural progression in how they're actually going to become a couple. I like how they introduced Storm into the X-Men team, where she was going to be, she was a 4 horseman, and then she later comes back around to see the X-Men. I like how, sorry, that was a little bit of a spoiler for me. I apologize, my bad. I was trying to do it without spoilers. That's a small spoiler. We all know that Storm is an X-Men. Halle Berry has honed that in for us. But in this one, she starts out on one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Excuse me. Sorry. What else do I like? I like how they introduced one of the characters that isn't prominently featured in the trailers, but he has one of the best scenes in the movie. Truth be told, it is not Quicksilver this time. There is another character in this movie that I actually really liked his scene when he actually came through. I like the fact that they actually set up a kind of hidden spoiler for what the next movie is going to be. It tied everything together beautifully for me. And a couple things I didn't like. I didn't like how they portrayed Archangel in this movie. And I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today about this, and he kind of reminded me that Archangel is a hard character to get people to like, because at times he's very whiny, and at other times he doesn't have a lot of lines. He's very brooding. Sure enough, I did like him in the X-Men cartoon series in the 1990s. But other than that, I really didn't have too many problems with Angel in this movie. Psylocke, what I will say, looked spot on. Although I think the movie could have done without her either way. it her character didn't really have a huge impact on the film one way or the other, right? Which I feel is a bit of a waste for Psylocke. That and Mystique actually being the leader of the X-Men in this incarnation, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense for her to be leader of the X-Men, well, leader on the team, but whatever. All in all, I think we did pretty good on this film. I think that casual movie goers will really enjoy this as a 7-minute blockbuster. I think some of the more hardcore comic book fans will actually kind of relax and give it a break and try and, if you go into it thinking about it outside of the comic book universe, you may actually enjoy it. But what do I know? Hashtag forget about the rules.